this first lecture, we will study the London system after the moves d4, knight f6. White has two move orders to reach the London system. One, very good. I sound and I look great. I was just informed by one of the players. Thank you very much. So bishop f4 is one move order, and a second move order is knight f3. And depending on what we will do, White possibly intends to play bishop f4 again, or maybe even bishop g5. So the good news is that the chosen system, which is a common and very good one, will serve us against both move orders. By the way, after d4, knight f6, speaking from White's point of view, I am convinced that knight f3 is a better move order for White. Even after d4, d5, I'm saying this for players who play the London with White. d4, d5, knight f3 second move is a lot more accurate than bishop f4. But that's another story. So d4, knight f6, and in this game, bishop f4 was played. The proposed repertoire is the Hedgehog, as you already know from the first lecture, where we would see typical endgames and strategies coming from these positions. Here we will be a little bit more specific in theory, although biggest part of the theory is made of plans. We just need to be a little bit accurate at first, and then we see. So we play e6, and now White can play knight f3 and e3 if he wants to play a London system. This is what he will play most likely. So the move e3 was played. We want to play knight f6, e6, remember this for black, and then c5 and take on d4. So c5 immediately and take on d4. We will play first c5, take on d4, and then later b6, bishop b7. Another playable system which sometimes can transpose is this one. First playing b6, bishop b7, and then to play c5 at some moment later. However, this move order is more tricky. It leaves White, White has some interesting move orders and choices. So let's better choose this move order, c5 and take on d4. This is our plan. E takes d4, and now we will play the Hedgehog setup. We can start with bishop e7, let's see, or with b6. We can pretty much play, again, my favorite trick, we can pretty much play all the move orders like this and castle now, or first d6 and knight bd7. The knight belongs to this square and not to c6 in the Hedgehog, and we will castle. We will play a6. Of course, we can play a6 even before castling. So a6 and rook e8. These moves, these first moves, are almost all the time obligatory and the best moves. So remember these moves for start. With an almost random move order, we can do pretty much whatever we like. So let's see now with logical moves by White. First of all, let me explain, before we continue with this game and the theory, let me explain why I chose this system for black. Because when you play d5, which is as usually the very solid setup, this plays exactly into White's hands. White has a few different plans to play from, and he gets to execute all the typical London plans with this and bishop d3 and all these attacks. So we need to be very accurate with theory, with the black pieces. We need to know exactly what we are doing, concrete theory everywhere. And there are so many different ways from White to handle this position. Plus, the position is very dangerous. No mistake by black is allowed. So this is why I didn't choose setups with b5. I very much like this setup, c5, and we take immediately on d4. He takes it, and we can play bishop e7 or b6, bishop b7. So this move was played. h3. White can play all sorts of move orders. Nothing changes. Now, black can either play castle short, d6 or b6. All these moves are good. d6 was chosen in this game. Let's not forget that if we castle and he plays here, for example, yes, which is the move to be avoided for black, please? Which is the move to be avoided? Very good. We must definitely avoid this d5 move. This d5 in connection with the move c5 takes d4, which has already been played. This d5 move is a mistake. In the opening, d5 is not a mistake. This is basic theory. But then after c5, we don't take on d4. Okay, so our line is this, and we take immediately bishop e7 or b6. We castle or d6 or b6. Very good. Knight f3. Please make no mistake. Sometimes white gives check. This is an inaccurate move here. But of course, remember, this is a slightly non-standard move for white. How do we punish non-standard moves? By playing standard moves. In other words, with this logic, exactly, what should we play and what should we not play, please? We must definitely play which move here? We must definitely play, very good, knight b7, of course. This is the way to punish a non-standard move. Non-standard move, make no mistake, doesn't mean that white is losing all of a sudden and there must be a definite punishment. No, it may help us get a very slight advantage, that's all. Or maybe a comfortable equality, that's all. Because this bishop b5 check is a non-standard move, but we cannot really call it a big mistake or anything, yes? So the way to punish it is not to change our strategy. After this, white is clever and he goes here and he has spoiled our setup. Or imagine of a player with the black pieces who thought very deeply here for 20 minutes instead of answering with this move in half a second, and he played this move. Yes, it's almost funny. This non-standard move to punish bishop b5. Of course not. So d6, knight f3 was played, and knight b7. Very good. Please pay attention to this. If we play b6, it is indeed a playable move, and he gives this check. How to play here now? What do you think? How to play here this time? Let's see how to continue here. I want to play knight b7, and I will play knight b7 unless there is a real danger. So the correct move is, of course, knight b7. I look around for this bishop c6 move. I see rook b8, and I don't see anything further. After this and rook b8, my next move can be this, or even bishop b7. So I see some random threats from white, left and right, but this will not bring the point. Imagine white is trying to win a whole army, to beat a whole army with one piece, moving it around left and right. This is not possible, yes? So please play knight b7. Nothing must take us away from the right path. No distractions and ridiculous moves or imaginary fears. I will play the principal move. That's why they call it principal. Yes, very good. So if somebody is afraid of that, let's start with knight b7 and end this trouble. White played queen e2 in this game. This move is a mistake. It doesn't matter. The game is still worth it. This is just a bleach game. So b6 or castle short. Here, bishop b7. In this game, we will ignore a couple of bad moves by white. For example, please listen to the wrong way of thinking. Oh, queen e2 is a non-standard move. There must be a way to punish it. And here I go, a5, intending bishop a6. This is how I punish queen d1. No, of course not. You don't punish a non-standard move with a non-standard move. He happily goes queen d1, and this was just one tempo, 1.5. a5 is a weakness forever until the end of the game. Yes, so he tricked us. Very good. How to punish queen e2? Play the standard moves, and the mistake will be apparent by itself. So here, yes, now we have knight d5. Okay, this is just a blitz game. This is winning, of course, and this time king f8 is winning a piece. Let's forget about it for a while. Castles here, rook e8, and bishop f8, and here. So again, we reached a very typical position. Instead of bishop f8, in this position, we can play knight here, or we can play a6. So black played here, and finally the right moves, queen c7. So black has arranged his pieces, or rather her pieces, in a good way, and she has an equal game. White took here, knight takes f6, black is doing great. Very good. Now let's check. Later she won the game with the minority attack. Let us now check this game and at the same time describe the theory. So remember, c5, and we take on d4. Yes, c5, and we take on d4, not b6. We take on d4. This is going to be our repertoire. By the way, taking with a knight is both a positional and a tactical mistake. How to continue here, please? How to shake hands in one move? We have this typical trick. He takes it, check, and we win a piece. So b6, forget about this b6, we take on d4. So here, let me show you exactly how to play. e3. We take here, he takes with a pawn, and now we can play bishop e7 or b6. Let's say I start with b6. Knight bd2, bishop e7. Another playable and good move is bishop a6. Another playable and good move is bishop a6. So, but let's say we play bishop b7. Let's continue now. Bishop d3, bishop here. We are probably threatening something like this, not really. Anyway, at some moment, white needs to play h3. Now, we can castle short, or we can play d6. The general rule is that I postpone castling for a while. I would like to play some move like this. Here I see some very big question. The answer is don't rush, be patient. In chess and in chess lessons, one has to be patient. That's the answer. So h3, d6. Usually in the Hedgehog, we want to postpone castling for a while. So let's suppose he plays c3. I can play knight bd7. There is absolutely nothing wrong with castling short. Let's say I castle short. He castles, and knight bd7. We are still not over with our obligatory moves. For example, he goes here. How to continue, please? I see two more moves that are necessary. I remember two more moves for black that are necessary. Very good. Which are these moves, please? Two of them. The moves are a6 and rook e8. Which one to play first? It doesn't matter. Choose one and play. So rook e8, and white moves the bishop. By the way, white should better put his bishop here on g3. Most players put it on h2. On h2, it has the additional problem that white is vulnerable on the last rank. He gets checkmated on the last rank. If complications begin and he is left, he slips with a bishop on h2, he may get a check with a rook on the last rank, and this is checkmate. So the best move for white is this, in fact, and the bishop from here can sometimes go here. One may claim, but here at any moment black can play this. Indeed, but only then white will go to h2, and this knight on h5 is always misplaced. So it is better for white to definitely put the bishop on g3. Small difference, but it's better. Let's suppose he plays this move. Now look, please, we are not over. I play a6. Now white has so many ways to put his pieces. We are already accustomed with this move. We already know what to do here. Let me show it again. We exchange all the pieces. We play knight f6. He goes back. And now I won't be in a hurry with this move. I will play b5 first. b5 because white is lacking a plan. For example, he plays such a move. White doesn't know what to do. And now I like to put the queen here or here. Look, I like this elegant move, queen d7. For example, he plays something like this, and queen b7. I am protecting this pawn, and at some moment I want to push b4. We can see that white doesn't really know what to do. If I give you the white pieces, you will be unable to find a plan, a constructive plan. There is nothing to do. That's why white exchanges pieces, because this is not good for white, but at least it covers his need to be doing something. White has the feeling that he is doing something. And this is exactly the strength of this system. White doesn't really have what to do. On the other hand, how should we continue? We want to find one good moment to play this move, but not now because he has c4, and we are not in a hurry. I can put this rook here. White is still waiting. All moves like this are totally wrong. Moves like this, f4 and everything. There is no attack for white, no real attack, because most of the pieces have been exchanged, and because we are very solid on the king side. I can even add this move if I want. So, and we are looking for a good moment to play b4. Possibly I will even play this move first, d5 and b4 later. Yes, this move d5 is good now that we don't have a blocked bishop on b7. So white will continue fighting, but he is lacking a plan. And of course, we are already very well equipped with nice knowledge how to continue here. We will exchange the queens. This is also possible, but let's better exchange the queens. And how to play here with white, please. How to play here with white, with black, I mean, sorry. How to play with black here, black to play and get an advantage. I want to make sure that we have all understood what is happening here. Of course, we will play d5, for example, here. And now I see 3 candidate moves for black. 3 candidate moves, not just one. Which are the 3 candidate moves? One move is this, indeed. But which are the other moves? Another move is this, very good. Making use of this square, and then we want to double, prepare ourselves, and later go for b4. And a third move is a5, intending to play b4 at some moment and capture with a pawn. In all of these cases, we are better. How about this typical move? No, it's too early for that. Too early for that. Very good. So here we are. We are not in a hurry. Remember to play d5. This will be played at a good moment. We play here and put the queen in this elegant square. We move the pieces up and down, and we are looking for a moment to play c4. Have a look at this, please. Let's suppose he is here. Rook c8, and he plays this move. Sometimes, not so often, we can play b4 immediately because he doesn't have c4. The answer is yes, we will do it. We will play b4 here. Yes, without playing d5 at all. And this is again a minority attack. I will take with the queen, and this is again a minority attack. For example, after this, we will play a5 and a4. At a good moment, we may play here, but most likely we will put the knight here. Yes, now we are not calculating tactics. Previously, I could have played here and win an exchange, but we are now strategically describing the position. I hope you all understand that. Very good. So let's go back once again. We play a6. It is not so easy for white to find a plan. If he keeps so this is usually a mistake. What should white do? If they ask, what should white do? he should either move his pieces up and down eternally, or he does have a few plans here and there. First of all, this is one idea. We have already come across this idea. How to continue here, please? Let's see. Very good. Of course, the correct idea, and in this particular position, even the correct move is d5. And at some moment, we will take on c4. We are not once again in a hurry, just like in the Cole system. We are not in a hurry to take on c4 because he's not threatening c5. We will take whenever we want, maybe even in the next move here. Very good. Now, White plays an illegal move and he gets an advantage. He plays here in this position. White is better all of a sudden. However, which illegal move will Black play and bring balance again, please? He will play d5 back to d6. Yes, this is the relationship between the moves. When this pawn is here, we need to be on d6. When this pawn is here, we can go to d5. Very good. So a6. Now, let's suppose that White is moving his pieces up and down, for example, with such a move. What to do here? First of all, I need a good moment to play b5. This moment is not here yet, because if we play b5, White will continue with this move, of course, a4, breaking up our pawn structure. According to the computer doesn't have any problem with this position. Usually it says that Black is doing well, very well. However, I am hesitant because I'm not a computer and I don't want to create a weakness on a6 without gaining something in return. So I wouldn't play b5, which is the correct move. The correct move is usually this one, queen c7. It is not so often that our queen goes against this bishop and our d pawn is pinned. So here we are playing a game with waiting moves so far. Once again, if he goes here, we take everything. There you go. And b5 and queen b7 once again. If a4, again queen b7. Nothing changes. And again, at some moment, we want to play d5 and b4. Nothing changes. Very good. So our next move is queen c7. And now let's examine again this move. Because after c4, we cannot play d5 anymore for obvious reasons. Sometimes we can play e5. For example, if we had put this bishop here in advance, this move can be interesting. However, remember, after a c4 move, the most common idea is queen back to d8. This is the move. Usually queen back to d8, intending d5. Our position is very good. Please be careful. He plays, for example, such a move, d5. We are not claiming that Black is better here. No, this is a playable and unclear position, right? So let's suppose he plays this. He's maybe threatening to take here. Maybe this needs to be calculated. If I am afraid, I can play this move. Or if I am afraid, remember this move, please. I am a big fan of this move, knight takes e5, on several occasions. This is not a move that we want to make, but getting mated instead, because we don't want to exchange pieces on e5 and allowing d takes e5, this won't help. So we need to take here if we are under a lot of pressure and play knight d7, or let's say even better, I take here. For example, he takes with a knight, and now look, one possibility, maybe there are other moves as well. Maybe there are better moves like this one, or even this one. This is an annoying little move for our opponent. But sometimes I repeat that even this move is good. There is no isolated pawn again anymore, but here we have an acceptable position. I wouldn't play knight takes e5. This is the last, taking here is the last line of defense, but we need to keep it in our head. I would have played this move, for example, and after here, maybe b5 with a fine game. For example, he takes here, I take it. He goes here. Again, generally, I don't want to take on e5 because he may have some attack. However, if I am to be checkmated here, if I am in danger to be checkmated, here I'm winning the queen, I won't hesitate. If there is no other defense, I will take it. And here he doesn't have an isolated pawn, but we still have a good position. For example, I play this move. So this is a totally acceptable position for black. Very good. Keep in mind this knight takes e5 if you find yourself under pressure. So I play queen c7. We tried c4. Our plan is usually queen d8. Now, let's suppose that our opponent plays not natural waiting moves like this one, for example. Here, who will suggest a move for black in this position? When we let's explain something, please, just a second, because here I see a question. So if c4, we go queen d8, we go d5, and if he plays b3, at some moment, we will take on c4 sooner or later, yes, and give him a parallel hanging pawns. For example, this is a logical move now. Let's say he goes here, knight here. After calculating knight takes f7, knight takes f7 doesn't mean that he's always winning. For example, here, I don't see anything good for white. Yes, here he's losing. So sacrificing on f7 is not always good enough. Maybe it is losing. So here, and at some moment, one thing is for sure, we will take here, and we have a playable position. For example, after this, I would have played possibly bishop b4. Here, I will take it sooner or later. He will take it. And now, I don't know, a move like queen e7, for example, or bishop d6. Yes, something like this. Okay. So so a6, queen e2, and queen c7. He plays here, rook a d1, which is a good move now. The move is finally b5. Look at this move. Yes, we found a good moment to play b5. Now there is no a4, of course. a4 is my favorite move to see. When I see a4, I happily, very happily take it. And I love having weak extra pawns. For example, he goes here. We can play knight b6. We can play bishop c6. Yes, very good. So bishop c6, black stands very well. It's not so easy to capture this pawn because this is also weak. We may start attacking here. Very good. So if white plays such move, we play b5. For example, knight f1, trying to do something. And now we can play knight b6. We can play, look at this typical idea, please. Bishop c6. This is a very nice idea, bishop c6, very logical move. And which is our plan for the next move, please? For example, he plays a3. What shall we play next move? It is more than obvious. I played bishop here in order to put the queen on b7. So we have put our pieces in good squares. For example, he continues like this. Here I will possibly take on f3, but it's not obligatory. I can also play other moves, like this one, for example. And we have good play. Very good. So let's go back. Queen c7. So if he doesn't do anything, I want to continue with b5. Very good. Let's suppose that he plays here. A waiting move. Yes, because this is indeed a game with waiting moves. Now we have trouble finding a move. I cannot play this move. I don't like it. He will play a4 now. What can I play? I can play g6, and here it comes. Please be careful. We don't play h6 here. It is important to avoid the move h6 unless you see a lot of attack by white. So when I play h6, I am weakening this g6 square. It means that one of my ideas, which is this one, at some moment, and maybe even here, or such moves at a good moment, with my pawn on h6, this cannot happen. Look, just a second. If I play h6 and he continues like this, now I have lost this plan forever. He will take it. And probably I have even lost this plan as well. He has ideas with all these sacrifices. It can be dangerous. So listen, please. We don't play the move h6 so early. The move h6 is good if we have exchanged a lot of pieces. For example, if he plays this all of a sudden and we continue with this strategy and b5 and he goes here and he goes here, yes, now I can probably play this move. Yes, now I don't really need this g6 square. He goes here, I exchange everything, d5, etc. Very good. So this is the story with h6 move. You don't just play h6. Very good. If he has a bishop here, don't play h6 unless you have exchanged some pieces already. Okay, so queen e2, queen here. We both start maneuvering. For example, a3. I will play g6 or even bishop f8. Please remember, I go bishop f8. I start putting such ideas into play, maybe even g6 later. I am, at any moment, I am ready to go back to e7. At any moment, if something is wrong, if I feel that I have not done things right, let's say we are here, look please, I play knight b6, he goes here, I won't hesitate a second, I haven't signed any contract, I will go back with my knight or even with my bishop here, yes. For example, queen here, he is threatening to take this, I will play g6. This is another reason why h6 is not good. Let's suppose that I had played this long time ago and his last move is queen d3, threatening to take on f6 and give some annoying checks. Look, I play here and I get punished because my pawn is on h6. It should have been here. How will white play here, please? Almost without thinking. How will he play? Of course, almost without thinking, he will sacrifice here. He will give 3 or 4 checks, and our king is terribly alone here. Check. Yes. Here, oh, here he can even take this. I don't want to look at it anymore. Somebody has disturbed our piece. So, with the queen on d3, we can happily play g6. I played bishop f8, but since this is a waiting battle, a battle with waiting moves, I can always get back to e7. We stay flexible. Flexible, don't worry. Such games where both opponents move up and down without a very clear plan. Sometimes you get such positions by theory. I will tell you one thing. These games are almost never end in a draw. These games where no player has a plan and we are thinking, how will I continue? So no, very rarely they end up in a draw. They start like this quietly and then they become the most fierce fights after some moves. So here, g6 is the move. Black has a very good game. For example, it is not easy even for white to find a move. For example, he goes here. I can play this move, intending queen b7 with very good play for black. For example, here, queen b7, here, maybe I will do this, and we continue playing the game. Here, f3, a5, with a very good, very healthy position for black. This is our goal, to play a game like this. It's not easy to play for a win, but of course, and black is not better here, of course, the London system is a very good, totally playable system, very reliable for white and very annoying. So, as we say, players with the black pieces, the world is a slightly worse place after the London system became fashionable. Okay, so a6 For example, queen e2, queen c7. Now look at this, please. There is another idea. We talked about this move. We talked about waiting moves for white, which is pretty much the best he can do, to play clever waiting moves, to play this game with waiting moves for both sides. There is another important plan. The plan is this move. A4. This move can be played, we understand, not in this particular position, but at any moment. His bishop can be here or here. His rook can be on f1. His queen can be here or anywhere else. So we are not talking about concrete theory, in fact, because there isn't any. We are talking about plans. So he goes a4. Now black appears to be in trouble, because he can never, let's say this is here and this is here. So last move was a4. Black can never play this move, intending queen b7, because the a6 pawn is dropping. Black can never move his rook. So what are we going to do? Stay like this forever? The answer is no. Of course, we don't play such moves in chess. We don't play such moves. Such move here is a very big mistake. What is our plan after all? Look, after a4, the move is queen. The plan is queen c8. Look at this move, please. Queen c8. Of course, instead of, I'm not saying I will definitely play queen c8 with my eyes closed. First, I may play this move. I may play g6, but soon, when I see a4, I will play this move, queen c8. And what is my plan after queen c8? Who can tell us, please? What is our plan after queen c8? I play queen c8 after a4, usually. So our plan is to play this move. Look, bishop c6 without dropping this pawn, and then finally put the queen here and play b5. Very good. This is the idea after bishop b7, after bishop c6. Sorry, after queen c8, I mean. The idea is bishop c6 and queen b8. Very good. By the way, he continues here, c4. Now, I will play, which is the usual move after c4, please. The usual move is d5. If I am afraid of his rook c1 move, I can just go here, intending d5. And look at this plan, please. White is pushing here very much. Now, we cannot play d5 because he will play c5. Look at this, please. We weaken white's control of c5 square. We play here. Black has a very good game once again. If he takes it, the computer always gives an advantage to black here. White doesn't really know what he's doing. He's expanding left and right without a clear plan. We want to either play this at a good moment or maybe even this, creating weak squares. So look at this. If he pushes all 4 pawns, a5 is good. Most likely he will play here. But now he has weakened his control over the c5 square. And as a result, we can play which move, please? Who will suggest a move? We can play d5 now because white cannot push here anymore. We can play d5. Or let's say our plan is d5. I can maybe even start with this move first, because he cannot avoid d5. Very good. You see, what is his problem? White doesn't really have a plan. He goes here. I can play g6 if I want. I can play d5. Which move is better? I will calculate. I think this is very good. For example, he takes it. We take it. It looks cramped for black. No, it isn't really. This a4, b5 are, in fact, they create weaknesses. Yes, some weak squares also. So white is winning space, but by also creating weaknesses. Yes, so this is a good position for black, totally acceptable. After here and taking on c4, it is good. White is grabbing space, but without being able to control this space very well. He has weaknesses. let's say he plays this. Look what happens now. I take it. I play knight d7, and look what is happening. He happily played a4, b5, and all the stuff a few moves before, but this is coming now. By the way, after taking, and here, let's suppose that this is not possible because this is dropping. How to continue with black here, please? Let's suppose this is here and this is here. So last move is knight e4. How to continue here? We have already come across such a situation. And of course, which is the best move, please? Who will help us? We already have correct answers. How should we continue? Black must play this move. Bishop takes e4. And look what is happening now. White has won way too much space with this a4, b5 move, but he has created weaknesses. All of a sudden, black is taking over. Very good. So again, let's go through our plans. First thing to know, this is going to be a battle with waiting moves, possibly. We play here and possibly queen c7 on the next move. If he goes c4, I want to play d5. If he plays waiting move, we are playing waiting move, and we are looking for the chance to play b5. For example, after such a move, here comes b5. Let's suppose that he plays this. Can black play b5 now? What do you think? Let's see, can black play b5 now? Let's see, can white play b5 now? I am thinking b5, a4, b4, c4. I don't really like that. Let's see. So here is the answer. Black can play b5. b5 is a good move, but look, after b5 and a4, most likely I won't play b4 at all. Look at this, please. We have another very basic plan. We will play, which move? We will play, who will suggest the move? It's not b4. The move is bishop c6. White, by playing the bishop here, he removed it from d3. Here, for example, he would have won a pawn. So indeed, we can play after a4, bishop c6. We are controlling everything. And next move is this with very good play. For example, he goes here. No, now we can possibly take. Or he takes here. We happily take with a pawn. Then this is coming soon. Such moves here. And of course, we are looking for a good moment to play b4. So remember, this b5, bishop c6 is a part of our plan, a big part of our plan. Indeed, if he plays bishop c2, b5 is good. a4, bishop c6, we are in time. Or he plays such moves. Now, knight b6 is one interesting way to play. And bishop c6, which is a basic plan, is another move to play. Black has a fine game. Once again, he goes here. Once again, I switch plans and I take everything and I play knight f6 and possibly queen b7 with very good play. By the way, let's suppose he plays here. We can play several moves. Knight d5 is good. Rook a c8 is good. Even this move is not bad. Yes, this is also an acceptable move, h6, because there is no need for black to put a knight on g6 or a pawn on g6 or something. So we are standing very well. Look at this, please. In case something like this happens, and now we don't want to play e takes d5, the move is usually this one in the style of Najdorf. this position resembles a knight draw. Sometimes we can even play here bishop g7 and f5. Yes, again with good play for black. Very good. Here is another example. White can try b3, c4, or c4 immediately. He doesn't need b3 for that. Yes. So let's see now. Queen e2. Look at this example. Queen c7. a4. I just played queen c7. After a4, I can possibly even play queen c8, intending bishop c6. Look at this. Knight c4. He's threatening this pawn. For the moment, I need to move back to c7 or here. Now the question is, okay, and if he goes back, well, if he goes back again, play another waiting move like this. Then something may change and you go back to c8 again. Yes. So this is the story, and black gets good counterplay, very, very good. Let's see now some games on these lines. For example, this game. This is a high-level guest game. So even with a different move order, finally they got to this position. So rook e1, knight pd7. White has a slightly misplaced bishop on e2, but anyway, this position is not a matter of tempi. He can always put it back to d3. So, and he did. Rook e8 for black with very good play. And knight e4. We have some question. What if white plays knight? Let's see. Here, e6. What if white plays this? No, let's clarify that. This move is a mistake. This time we won't play d5. Who will suggest a move? This move here doesn't exist. That's a nice question, but this move doesn't even exist. What will black play here? Can you guess? It won't be d5. Very nice question. Such an opening doesn't exist because black will play here. And then possibly d6, and we will get a very good version of something like a Nimzo-Indian. Yes, so here there is this move, bishop b4, black is already at least equal. Because maybe here I can even play this, but even by simply taking here and d6, and here e5 or b6, we get a great game. This is some kind of Nimzo-Indian. The Nimzo-Indian is this. I take this pawn from c2 and I put it here. Very good. So here, after knight c3, we have bishop b4, and we are out of book already. So let's continue our study. Rook e8 was played. Knight e4, white lost his patience. Remember this psychological little trick, offering hope and taking it back on the next move. Knight f6. Remember, we don't play d5 in this position. Shall I play this move? I don't really feel the need to do that, because one day I want to put the pawn here. So the correct move is b5. This is the correct move. a3 was played, and now we need to go with our queen to b7 or to c6. It can happen from d7 or from b6. It doesn't matter. So here, queen c6 was played. Of course, black has several other moves like this one, or queen c6, or queen b7, or queen here. So queen c6 was played. We are always careful for this advance. We are not naive. It may be good at some moment. Here, a5 was played, and rook c8. Black is already better. Queen c4 takes, and rook e3. If he goes d5, it's the usual e5 move. Very good. So rook e3 was played. b4, after some small calculation, very good game by black. Now he will regain the pawn. Queen takes b4, and he has a good advantage. After taking, and here, I think, okay, here, yes, black took the pawn. Even this d5 is good, like for in the game we will take the pawn, of course, yes. This d5 is good for, let's say, for instructive reasons. Of course, black takes this pawn, and here he played d5. If it were black to move, once again in this position, let's say after this, this move, once again, we will show our knowledge and we will play which move, please? Even in this position, do not forget this move. I am more interested for you to find such moves rather than memorizing openings. The move is, of course, g5. And then the king is coming here. For example, after g4, the king is coming here. I will play this and push my pawn here, and then we will start maneuvering with our bishop, maybe attack this pawn, play f6, e5 at a good moment. We will find several ideas. In the end, white won the game. Let's check a couple of more games. For example, this one. This bleach game by two players with a rating of around 2400. So takes, d6. And here, all move orders are allowed. b6, let's postpone castling for a while. Here, bishop b7, castles, a4, a6, and a5. Yes, this quick plan does exist, but it offers counter chances to black as well. The idea is after b5 to play c4. Black here has a very good way to play. He can first include this move in the complications, forcing him to move, and now play b5. White's idea is to play c4, takes, and now knight f6. Each side has some nice strong squares. The c4 square is almost like a weak square. The b6 square is also like a weak square. On the other hand, this is weak, and we have such ideas. So rook c1, queen d7, black is doing great. Very good. Let's go back. After a6, a5, b5 was played. Knight d5 was important in the complications to enter this move, because now we don't have a clear, easy way to protect this pawn. Now we want to play this and transpose theoretically if he plays here, but he won't play here. He will take here, of course. Very good. So in the end, however, black still managed to win the game. Let's check another game. Let's check this one. So here we are. All these move orders are good. And b6, castles. Can white just castle long? For example, he plays here. Let's see. And he castles long. Can he do that? It is possible, but it is very risky. We will see this plan in the next session in the Torre version. Here, I don't think this is like good enough. Our plan is to play a6, b5, and we always have ideas like this, and knight d5, knight b4. So this position is playable, but I would say very risky for white. For example, after this move, I believe I can even sacrifice this pawn on h7. Here, takes. Here we are threatening this bishop. Probably I can even play this move. And I think black is doing fine. Of course, after g4, we can play this move, g6. We can also consider maybe even this move, e5, depending on the situation. So the answer is, can he castle long? The answer is usually not. This is extremely risky for white. And without black doing anything, we acquire very good counterplay with rook c8 and knight d5. You can even sacrifice this pawn if you like. Here, let's say he plays such a move. This is not necessary, but it's very interesting. B5, he takes it, and now I play this move. We have some ideas to play like this, bring the other rook to C8. There is a lot of good counterplay. So castling long for white is not really good. Can white start attacking with H4? No, he cannot. Let's explain that. This is not a wise thing to do because our pawns are not like this. In such a situation, it is acceptable for white to attack with H4 and maybe even good. But with our pawn on D6, at some moment, we will play for this move, E5, opening up the center, if I may say, even with a sacrifice sometimes, and white will be totally exposed. For example, let's suppose he tries to do something like this. This is not the right way to play chess. Chess, this is like an attack of an angry person, yes? But this doesn't work in chess. Black will fight back, and the angry person will soon find himself in a difficult situation. He will regret it. For example, here we open up the position and he has to take with the bishop, and we have lots of compensation. According to the chess principles, when he is playing for a flank attack, we open up the center. Yes, we can take here. Black has tremendous compensation. Look at this position. White's position is totally ridiculous. We are threatening this, and after here we are threatening bishops and rooks and everything. Yes, after here, I won't hesitate. I will play a move like this one, maybe even this one. Look, and after this is checkmate. Very good. This is just a random example, which I'm thinking right now, but it clearly shows how to react and the dangers that are involved if white all of a sudden gets angry and he decides to attack brutally with his king in the center. We will play E5 with sacrifice or not. Look, I didn't play E5 yet. I see him preparing his plan, and I'm thinking, let him execute this plan first. I play rook E8. Should I play this? No. Now the position is more active. Now I don't really need this move A6. Yes? Now I want to play in the center. So I play here, let him execute his plan. Indeed, I'm waiting for this move which causes extra weaknesses, and only now I'm opening up the position with a certain advantage for black. Very good. Let's see how these players played. So normal stuff, knight bd7, here, rook e8. According to the computer, in this particular position, we have this move. I'm not even sure that this knowledge that I'm offering you is useful, because we may try to play knight d5 at a wrong position and get a bad version of the London. So very rarely I see this motif working for black. This is one of these rare times. Okay, so let's better play a6 and rook e8, and bishop c4. So one move is for sure not to be played, the move d5. How can black continue here? I see several ideas. One move is bishop f8, which was played in the game. Definitely not this move. After this, white is much better. One move is bishop f8, and look at this, please. Who will find another strong defensive move? Instead of bishop f8, bishop f8 is meant to protect all these squares on e6, f7, and everything, to protect ourselves from sacrifices. Who can find another good defensive move, please? Let's see. Here, continuing like this and bishop c6 and all this, maybe now, maybe bad. Maybe he can sacrifice on e6. Yes? So we need for the moment to take measures. This looks like a good move. Defending everything, then possibly we can go to g6. If necessary, I can play this move on the next move, or even this move with tempo. Yes, so we need to take into account such threats or such threats, of course. Yes, so bishop f8 was played and bishop g5. If knight g5, I don't think we can play knight d5 here. If I play this, threatening this bishop, he can play this, threatening both f7 and h7, and we are losing. So I cannot play knight d5. Let's see what we can play, because I believe he threatens to sacrifice. Let's find a good move here. Maybe knight f8 was better in the previous move. Possibly we must play this move. I don't know. This move. Okay, if there is no other way, I will play this. But this is a move I want to avoid. Yes, if there is no other way, I won't be checkmated. But possibly this is a move to avoid. Yes. Maybe this queen e7 here. Or maybe after rook e8 and this, it would have been wiser to put the knight on f8 and protect ourselves from sacrifices. Let's see what happened. Bishop g5, h6 is a bit risky but playable. Finally, queen c8, everything is protected. Bishop c6, a5, black is already better. After b5, black has a huge advantage. White's pieces are disorganized. And according to the computer, an even better move was this one, to accept the pawn and play queen c7 and protect it. According to the computer, black is much better here. You will see the rest of the game by yourself. Okay, let's see now one game by two very high-level titled female players. Elizabeth Paige, Grandmaster Elizabeth Paige from Germany, and woman Grandmaster Stavroula Cholakidou and Men's International Master, two very high-level players. White has a rating of close to 2,500 in this game, and black a rating of close to 2,400. Black managed to win in the end after c5, e3, takes, bishop e7, a million move orders, but we don't really care. Doesn't make any difference. d6 and knight bd7 and b6 and bishop b7. Yes, and castles. Rook e8, you see, no surprises, just the best moves here. And a6. White played knight g5. Yes, this idea also makes sense, intending to play some sacrifices. Bishop f8, protecting against the sacrifices, and knight to e4. This is also playable. h6, now it's necessary for the defense, and knight f3. But here, problems begin. How should black continue, of course? We already know by now. How did black continue? Of course, we exchange everything. We don't play d5 yet. We play b5 or maybe even knight f6 first. It's the same. b5 and knight b6. This is also good. And it's the time to move the queen. Queen d7. The queen will go to b7 or to c6. So here, queen c6, black has already a small advantage. Rook a to c8, because white doesn't really know what to do. So some accurate moves here. Finally, d5 was played, and black was better, and later she managed to win the game. Okay. Save. And here is another game by super top players. This is the game between Gata Kamsky and Magnus Carlsen. In 2008, Gata Kamsky had a rating of 27-23, and Carlsen had a rating already in 2008 of 27-75. Let's check how they played. Gata Kamsky plays the London very often. So let's see, c5, e3, takes, b6, the move order chosen by Magnus Carlsen. Here we say you can freely play whatever you like, but when you play b6, hey, you have to play bishop b7 on the next. Yes? So bishop b7 here, bishop e7, he stays flexible, h3 and castles, and d6, knight bd7, rook e1. Carlsen started with this move. Usually we play rook e8. Anyway, a4, he played a6, typically. Bishop there. He played rook f to e8. Has he done anything better than us? No, not yet. So queen b3. Obviously, Kamsky had this inspiration over the board. Carlsen plays this move, bishop f8, only typical moves. Rook e2, and what to play with white here, with black here, please. Let's see what to play with black here. Is there a chance that Carlsen played a non-typical move? Almost zero chance. He played bishop c6. He wants to go b5 maybe on the next move because the queen is pinned there. Kamsky played c4. If he would play this, now black has a choice between this move or maybe even b5 immediately. This b5 is a move that we want to make. Let's see, takes with the pawn, and if he takes here, it already looks not so good. We will play here, and we will regain the pawn as it seems, unless I'm missing something. We will regain the pawn with a very good position. Yes. So after this, Kamsky played c4 and queen b7, and he played here. How should black continue? First of all, let's suppose this was here. What should black play here, please, in this position? There is no doubt at all. Black must play which move? No doubt at all. Black must play b5, of course. Here, b5 with a good game. But the position is like this. So, how did Carlsen play here? Who can help us? Of course, he played d5. Generally, when you see the move c4, look, the move c4, here, before, later, our plan is connected with d5. Sooner or later, we need to play d5. Obviously, we cannot play now d5. We are losing the queen. But after a few moves, we may play d5. This is another typical idea, but it would have been a pity to put the queen here, intending d5. But if necessary, Carlsen would do it. Of course, he wouldn't hesitate a second. Now that this b7 square is available, he played here. Please be careful. After playing queen b7, such an idea, such a gambit has always to be considered. It can sometimes be very good, but in this position, I don't see any clear compensation. So he played this and d5. Let's see, c d5, bishop takes, and rook a to c8. Now black is better. Carlsen is playing with this super strong player, and he makes them look like children. So here he took it. Look, learn by this move. We learn by this move. One may be afraid, but if I take it, d takes e5, and he doesn't have an isolated pawn anymore. It doesn't matter. We still have a good position, very good position. We rule out any unnecessary complications, and we block the c file, we block the d file with our knight, and we take over the c file, and he plays these moves. He enters with the rooks, and here, by the way, should I play g5 here to win space? No, not every position is like that. Yes, here playing g5, I see only weakening. h6 is good enough, and he starts chasing pawns. He took a pawn. There were some mild complications. Yes, and he managed to win the game after some good calculation. Save. Okay, so these are the games. There is another very good game. I believe we have enough time to see it. So it's this one. I am playing with the black pieces. So again, this plan. My opponent turned this into a version of the Torre. So queen c7 and b5. If he goes a4, what to play here, please? We know by now what to play here. Who will answer fast and confidently and correctly? Of course, we will play which move? Which move to play? This move, yes, and queen b7 is coming. Very good. So h3, I played here, and I played bishop c6, after all, intending queen c7. And here, I was waiting for this move. We exchanged everything. Queen b7, typically, please pay attention for such ideas here. They can be annoying. After this, I happily played h6 and b4. Look at this move. b4 is good because white cannot play c4. I'm taking this pawn. So whenever I have this chance, yes, I will not play d5. I will play b4 immediately. I will keep my pawn on d6. So we played here, and black is taking over. And here in this blitz game, in a completely winning position for black, white even blundered his queen. Very good. A nice and simple technical win. Now, let's see something else, please. Let's go to the game Kamsky-Gelfand. Let's see. Gelfand played c5, okay, and a very fast c3. Now we will see what happens if white plays a very fast c3, usually with this pawn here and his knight on f3. And he's intending to take with the c pawn. Very good. So far, this was not the case, because after this, our opponent would play usually this move, and after this e3, I take it immediately, and he's forced to take with the e pawn. But quite often, after knight f3 and c5, he can play c3, an annoying little system, which I have played also with with white. So let's check here, and c3. There are several good ways for black to play. Here is what Gelfand is doing, because Gelfand wants to take on d4, but he maybe dislike this c takes d4. He continues like this with b6 and bishop b7, and here. So one way to play is to develop a little bit, wait for this move, and now take on d4. Why? Because when white takes with a c pawn, he would very much like to put his knight here. So one fine little system, which is not going to be our main system, is to wait a little bit, postpone cd4, wait for this move knight bd2, and around this point, take here. If he takes with the e pawn, we are where we want to be. And if he takes with the c pawn, he always has the right to do that. For example, here, there are some direct weaknesses. After this, he played knight h5, and black got a good game. So one way to play, one philosophy is this. When you see an early c3, you delay c takes d4 until he goes knight bd2. Very good. However, now you will see a very good, very sophisticated way to play. Here it is. You can see it in this game. So this is the game between Kukov with a rating of close to 2400, and Mircea Parligras, grandmaster with 2630 rating from Romania. So d4 knight f6, and they reached this position. So for us, we just played c5, waiting to see e3, and he played this. Now look at a wonderful variation for black. So here, after c3, the situation is such that everything is now different. We play this wonderful move, knight c6. There are other ways for black to play. For example, taking here and bishop b4 check is also a very interesting way. But look at this move, knight c6. Now, everything is well calculated by black. Next move, we want to take on d4 if he doesn't do anything. So we are sure that he will play e3. And now what do? We take on d4? No, now we cannot transpose to our system anymore. In our system, our knight goes to d7. However, after this, we have this powerful move. We are playing a wonderful position. We became white now, but we are one tempo less. If I put this pawn here, we are at a very good version, and I paint the white pieces black and the black pieces white, then we are in the Slav with e3. This e6 move is Slav with e3 in a very good version for us. Look at this version, please. After d4, look at this version, d5. We always choose the same setup, remember that. Sometimes painted white, sometimes painted black. So we are in this setup now. Reversed position, this setup, exactly this one. So this is, in a sense, how our openings connected. This is really amazing. Openings that apparently have absolutely no connection with each other, like the London with the Slav, and yet after knight c6 and e3, this is a powerful move. In this game, white didn't want any complications, and he played this move, but this is a weak move. We take it immediately, we play d5, and then g6. Just a second, you told us not to play d5 in such positions. No, d5 is not a bad move. d5 is a bad move in connection with this. Now that we play d5, we do not intend to take on d4. That's the difference, yes? So here, and what is our plan? Our plan is to play g6 here, and nevertheless, we can play g6. Here, h6 is good, and even g6 is good. We are not worried about the weakness of the dark squares here because white doesn't have a dark square bishop. So one move will not be played by black. Which move is that, please? The move cd4. So here, black has a very good game due to his strong dark square bishop. Later, he went to win a very nice game. Let's check a few more games here. So here we are. Just a second. With the black pieces, it's Grandmaster Moisienko with a rating of 2710. So let's check. Here, c5, so far so good. If he goes e3, we immediately take on d4 so that he can only capture with his e pawn. If he goes c3, everything changes. Please play this powerful move. Knight c6, now we are really threatening to take on d4. So he plays a3, and now we don't take on d4, we play this move. The logical move is bishop g5. What is happening after bishop g5? We get this situation reversed. Queen b6, queen b3, and or queen c2, let's say queen b3, and black to play, we get an at least equal game. We play h6 and g5, just like in the reversed Slav, in the Slav with e3. So we take, he's threatening to win this pawn. We play bishop here, and after knight bd2, we play d5. Black is slightly better in this position with his pair of bishops. He is enjoying a wonderful position. For example, after this, we can play here, or we can play king e7 with a very good endgame. Only black is playing for win here. White is afraid to open up the position because then the pair of bishops will be very powerful. So let's see what happened in this game. After knight h5, he didn't play this and queen b6. He played bishop g3, where we happily take this bishop and play d5, knight bd2. And I like this move g6 even better than bishop d6, which was played by Parligras. Bishop e2, and now queen b6. Why does he play queen b6? Because we want to play this move, but we don't want to lose this pawn. And we don't even want to take here. This is also a dubious move. As always, he will take with the e pawn. So he plays this to protect this pawn and then to play bishop g7. Here, bishop g7, black is already slightly better. It is not easy to give an advice to white here in this position. Black is doing really very well. He played h6 and king d6 and f5, stopping any e4 ideas. Black is better, and later he won a very nice game. Let's check another good game here. Let's check this game between Palchun with the white pieces and Evgeny Alexeyev, very good grandmaster, with the black pieces. So e3, now knight c6, c3. This is not our move order. Our move order is c3, knight c6, and e3. Yes? So here he played this, bishop g5 and queen b6, and knight a3. We don't bother taking on b2. We just play d5, stopping knight c4, but now we are threatening to take on b2. He played here, and who can guess the move? The move is h6 again. He goes here, g5, takes, and bishop here. If white takes here, intermediate move, and knight b5, we simply go king e7. And black is again better. These plans exist with opposite, they do exist with opposite colors. Now we became white. We have the white pieces, and we are slightly better. I have played this endgame with white, the same structure, but painted white. And I have won several games. So in the game, bishop e2 was played, bishop d7, black is better. How about taking here? No, absolutely not. This is very dangerous. For example, here, this is hanging, the b2 pawn is hanging, white will lose. So castles, g4 is good, and h5, once again, this endgame, which is very good for black. And white was not expecting that when he played this c3. Totally different things have happened than what he was expecting. And this is how we must play. Finally, here is another good game, this one. So black has a rating of close to 2600. Again, after this, our move is cd4. Yes, so we can reach this position, but in this move order. Knight c6, and now, only now he plays e3. We play knight h5, and we arrest this bishop. Here, there is also this move, but we take it, and now the best move is simply knight back to f6, for example, here, and d5, and black stands perfectly. Black is at least equal. You will see this in the notes. So queen b3, again h6 and g5, and takes. He's threatening knight takes g5. Don't forget that. We defend our rook with bishop g7, and next move is d5. Here, d5. Black stands very well in this endgame. He even played g4 and e5, and he is much better now. Takes. He won this game easily. This is going to be our choice. And now let's check a couple of good games by Kamsky with the white pieces, who is an expert in the London system. We get back to our study with the black pieces is another tremendous player, Sergei Tivyakov. In this game, Kamsky won. So look what Tivyakov is doing. He is developing, he is postponing CD4, and he is waiting for the move knight BD2, and only now he takes it. Now, white can play CD4 with an equal version. This is not our choice, this way of playing, but it's also acceptable. So ED4, and we got back to normal. Bishop here, let's see, castles, and rook E8. Kamsky played A4, A6, and bishop H2, queen C7. I suggest this move, queen C8, intending bishop C6. Another playable move is even this, bishop C6 immediately, because his queen is not here to threaten the pawn. If he goes here, we go queen C8. Anyway, Tivyakov played here, and C4. Now, Tivyakov played A5, but this move is premature. Kamsky played knight B1. Look, an even better version after C4 is to play queen back to D8, because we want to play D5, and we don't want to lose our queen. And now, this is our next move, D5. If white goes B4, how to continue here, please? Who remembers? Black to play and get a very good game. So this knowledge is more than enough to give us a good game. A5 is the move. And if he takes here, rook takes, black is already better. We want to play D5 on our next move. And if after here he goes B5, then D5 is the move. And rook C8, for example, or bishop B4. Yes, we are going to take here at a good moment. He's not threatening this yet. And black gets a very, very good game. He didn't do that. And after a premature A5, he should have played here, and only after B4 to play A5. So he played this, and knight B1, white was slightly better here, D5 and B3. And later white won the game because he has tremendous endgame technique, not because he played the London system, of course. Yes? Here is another good game by Kamsky against Grandmaster Durar Bailey. So again, in this line with a different move order, they got to this position. Here. Rook E8, rook E1, and H6. I don't really approve this move. He has something in his mind. I would have played knight BD7. Anyway, H6. White played C3, and bishop F8. Slightly unusual moves. Rook A7. He's afraid of something, of some A5 move. That's why. And knight E3. So this setup by white, knight D2, knight E3, and bishop H2 or bishop E3 is an interesting way for white to play. I suggest this also as white as a good way to play a waiting game. Let's have a look at it again. So let's say we play our own moves. Instead of H6, we play here. Yes, an interesting way for white to handle this system is to play knight here, knight here, let's say, bishop here, put this knight here, and this knight on D2, but we also have an acceptable and good game. So I believe this knowledge is important and enough for start to play against the London. All of you now are ready to play the London system, especially if you study the notes and study the games, and maybe even study extra games from the database. And this is a very reliable and good system to play against the London. So I would like to thank you all for participating. We take a small break now, and I hope I will see you in half an hour.